That's Sodapup for your loyal, loving best friend.
Hello, and welcome to the Sodapup Enrichment Lab podcast, where we mix a little kibble with curiosity and sprinkle in some fun. I'm your host, Chris Chandler. Each week, we will unleash tales of dog guardians, that was a mouthful, around the globe who are transforming mealtime into an enriching adventure. Whether you are looking for inspiration, eager to expand your dog's palate, or just here for a possum chat, you found your pack. So grab your favorite snack for yourself and your pup and join us to explore enrichment, how people are using it with their animals, and simple tips on how you can join in on the fun. Our first guest for our introductory podcast is Sodapup's founder, Adam Baker, who also happens to be my husband, true confession.
Hello. Sorry for
And
the dogs barking in the background.
it's a dog podcast. So we just want to talk a little bit today about the podcast and what we hope to do and what we hope to bring you. So, Adam, as we have talked about this over the months, what have your thoughts been about how you would like to see this go and what you would like to see this be?
Yeah. So, the main thing for me is I've been so blown away by Instagram and how people have used our products, our soda products, for enrichment. And it got me really curious about who are the people behind these Instagram accounts. I want to know who is doing this enrichment and what motivates them. And I want to know more about their dogs and where they live. And so some of this is just for me to scratch an itch to learn more about who these folks are and, build a community and make some friends along the way. So that was the initial thought was, who are these people? And wouldn't it be fun to introduce them, to learn about them and introduce them to the world?
So if you haven't seen our Instagram yet, I would definitely encourage you to give it a look. And what you will see is that it's largely user-generated content, and it shows all these amazing and really creative ways that customers and consumers all around the world are using enrichment products to provide food enrichment, mostly for their dogs, but some people with other animals as well. And so we have been talking about learning more about these people, bringing them to you, and also drawing in their everyday expertise about how to do this every day.
Yeah, I think there's a real opportunity for us to learn from one another. Every now and then we will have experts come on the podcast as well. But I think there's a lot of knowledge just held within the community itself. And so the idea that, we can share tips and tricks and educate one another. The other interesting thing about Instagram is people were using our products in ways that I never anticipated. And so it's been a great feedback loop for me as I think about new products to design. And we actually, and this started a while ago, a couple of years ago, we actually started designing in specific ways based on the way we saw people were using the products. And so there were some really interesting insights for me to inform product design. And so, yeah, so it'll be fun to talk to folks.
Yeah, so tell us just from your perspective a little bit more about what you started seeing and maybe a couple of the things that have been the most surprising, and then how that has informed things for Sodapup.
Yeah, so the first lick mat that we did was during the pandemic. It was in 2020, and we did the jigsaw lick mat. And my intention was to make it quite difficult because, Buddy, our black lab, he could use other brands lick mats, and he could just lick them clean in 5 minutes. And I wanted something that would last longer. So when I'm on a Zoom call, I can get through a whole Zoom call without Buddy, requiring my attention. So,
Which was hard to do because Buddy loved Adam the most.
as they all do. Um, and he was very needy. He was a rescue, and he was insecure, and he wasn't accustomed to having me at home either. So the fact that I was here, he needed a lot of attention. And so we created a lick mat just for Buddy, and it was the jigsaw. But what surprised me is I started seeing um, Instagram images where people were putting different colors in each piece of the puzzle. And I never really anticipated that type of use when we did the design. I was just trying to make something that was complex and would take a long time for a dog to lick clean. But I didn't expect people to fill different segments with different colors. And that design enables you to do that. Whereas other types of designs that might just have nubs, you can't do that. If you put color in one thing, it just spreads out across the whole mat. And so that was a really interesting insight for me. And from then on, I started designing designs that would have self-contained shapes. Now, the first dog bowl that we did was the honeycomb dog bowl. And the same thing, the same behavior was going on there, which I didn't anticipate. People are using it kind of like a charcuterie board. They're putting different foods in each one of the combs and, creating beautiful meals. And I didn't anticipate that either. So as we designed more and more dog bowls, it was always with an eye toward creating these self-contained shapes. And if you stop and think about it, a self-contained shape like one of those combs in a honeycomb bowl is like a mini dog bowl. And so it's forcing a dog to use his tongue. He can't actually get his snout down into that segment. It's too small. And so, one of the happy outcomes of this is that our dog bowls actually take dogs longer to eat. And many of the competitor dog bowls that I buy and test, and, it doesn't really slow the dog down very much. And so our bowls are definitely much more difficult and much more effective. And a lot of that came from consumer insights, how people were using the products. So there's a couple of examples.
And we've seen and we do see every day incredible beauty in how people are putting food in the lick mats, the bowls, the trays, and people are really using them like canvases. And it's just been really fun to watch people take Sodapup's creativity in terms of the design of the mats and the colors and what we offer, and then using their own creativity to make it this beautiful, as you said, a charcuterie board. Sometimes it looks like a painting. People, in terms of using different colors and different kinds of food types and different taking the products they use, whether it's goat milk or yogurt, and giving it color. And so we continue to be really
Amazed.
fascinated and inspired by and amazed by people's creativity out there for both
Yeah,
for feeding their dogs in but also in these really beautiful ways.
Yeah, it's funny when I design certain designs, I actually have certain Instagram accounts in mind, and it's like, I wonder what so and so will do with this design, or if I do this, I wonder if that person would engage with it. So it's fun. It's like doing a dance. We're not really talking to each other, but I'm thinking, this would be really fun to do, and I wonder if so and so would respond to that. So. What people might not know about Soda is that, we're a family owned business. We started this as a hobby business in the basement. My background is in sporting goods, not in pet. And, and I wanted to, the reason I created Soda is because I didn't think that pet products were very interesting. And, we had 3 dogs and 2 cats. And, you go into a lot of pet stores and it's just the same stuff all the time. The assortments don't change that much. And, um, and so I think many retailers treat products like dog bowls, like pet supplies. Sounds weird to say because it is a pet supply, but I wanted to create something beautiful more like a consumer product. Like how do we create things that people can have an emotional reaction to? Like how can we touch people's hearts in ways with a product where you wouldn't ordinarily get that? So, many of our lick mat designs and our dog bowl designs, we're trying to lean into people's experiences with their dogs, but not strictly with their dogs. We want to create beautiful objects. And um, so it's been especially gratifying to see the types of creativity on Instagram coming back at us. So it's just been a really, really fun ride. And it fuels more ideas for us about what we can do in the future. Not just more designs of the types of things we do now, but maybe new types of products in the future. So we're always open to ideas and new ways of thinking.
Great. We're going to keep this first one short. That's just a little intro for you about what we're going to be bringing to you. So I do have a question to ask you. And that is, if you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be?
Well, I'd like to tell you that I'm a sleek gray, but I'm actually, thanks a lot. I think I'm a black lab. I'm 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 not that smart. I'm kind of dumpy, but I'm very lovable.
You're not as food
and I
motivated. You're
and
not as food motivated
I'm
as a
not as
lab.
ignorant,
So
but I'm pretty good natured.
Yes, you are good teacher. Okay. Well,
So I'm a lab,
a lab, a black lab.
a black lab,
Well,
and I throw up on the carpet all the time.
so I will have to tell you that right now we only have one dog, which we had 3 and then we had 2 and now we're down to 1, and we for a while now haven't had a lab, and we've almost always had labs, and we're debating about another dog, no dog.
Well, we have one dog,
We have
but
one
do we
dog.
get a second dog?
We add a
Yeah.
second.
They
And if
keep
we added
growing
a
up and getting
second,
old.
if we added a second, it would definitely be a lab. I think I'm safe in saying that. But I said to Adam as we were out walking today, I said, you know what? It's been like a year since any dog threw up on the rug, because it seems like in our history with labs, because they're always eating yucky stuff, they throw up on the rug a lot. So I don't know.
A lot of grass, among
And
other things,
other yucky stuff. Anyway,
and cat poop.
so as we close this episode of the Sodapup Enrichment Lab, I hope that you will be inspired to jazz up your furry friend's day with a sprinkle of creativity and a dash of deliciousness. Remember that enrichment is not just a buzzword. It's the key to tail wagging, panting good times for our beloved companions. If you enjoy this episode or the ones that are to come, we hope that you will subscribe. Share the joy with your fellow pet enthusiast by recommending the podcast and leave a review. So keep the tails wagging, the bowl's full, and remember, a well-enriched pet is a happy pet. Thanks for being here.
That's Sodapup for your loyal, loving best friend. That's Sodapup for his chewing it and licking. That's Sodapup. She